Ladies and gentlemen, there are things in life that we hold on to habits, thoughts, behaviors that may feel comfortable, but deep down we know they're holding us back. It's easy to get into routines that feel familiar, but just because something is familiar doesn't mean it's good for you today. I want to talk to you about 6 habits you need to quit. These are habits that if you don't address them, they'll stop you from stepping into the fullness of who you were created to be. You've got a calling on your life, and the more you let these things control your mindset, the further away you'll drift from that purpose. But here's the good news. It's not too late to make a change. We're going to dig into it, but you need to be honest with yourself, because honesty is the first step towards transformation. The first habit you need to quit is comparison. Stop measuring your success against someone else's. I know it's easy to scroll through social media or watch someone else's life unfold and think, why can't I have that? But the truth is your race is not their race. Your journey is not their journey. You can't get caught up in their pace. Their highlights are their achievements. The only race you're running is your own. When you focus on what others are doing, you forget the unique things that make you you. You were created to stand out, not to fit in with someone else's timeline or dreams. If you continue comparing, you'll always feel like you're falling short, but you've got to realize the only person you need to be better than is the person you were yesterday. The second habit to quit is complaining. It's so easy to slip into a mindset of negativity, especially when life doesn't go according to plan. It's easy to say, I can't do this, or why is this happening to me? But here's the thing, complaining never changes your circumstance. Yes, it just locks you in a cycle of defeat. When you complain, you're only giving power to what's wrong instead of speaking life into what's right. You've got to stop focusing on the obstacles and start focusing on the opportunities. When you change your perspective, you change your situation. Start speaking life over your challenges instead of letting those challenges speak death over your dreams. Don't allow your words to be a reflection of your frustration. Let them be a reflection of your faith. Third, quit procrastinating. I know we all do it. We put things off thinking we'll get to them later, but later never seems to come. The problem with procrastination is that it's a silent killer of dreams. Every time you say, I'll do it tomorrow, you're stealing from your own future. You are robbing yourself of the momentum you could have had if you took action today. You've got to understand that success is built one decision at a time, and each decision has a ripple effect. You don't have to see the whole picture right now. Just take the next step. Don't wait for the perfect moment, because the perfect moment doesn't exist. Start with what you have right where you're. Next, quit trying to please everyone. This one is huge. You've got to stop living for the approval of others. If you're constantly seeking validation from the people around you, you'll never find peace. People will always have an opinion, but their opinions aren't the ones you should be living by. You were not put on this earth to fit into other people's expectations. God, you were put here to walk your own path, to be true to your calling. I get being liked feels good, but it's fleeting. The real peace comes when you know who you are, when you know what you stand for, and when you make decisions based on your values, not on what others think. Your life is too important to spend it living for someone else's approval. The fifth habit is quitting fear. Fear has been holding you back for far too long. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of the unknown. It's all paralyzing, but you have to ask yourself, what's the worst that can happen if you don't take that step? What are you losing? You're losing potential. You're losing growth. You're losing the chance to live out the incredible life that was always waiting for you. Fear will tell you to stay small, to stay safe, but it's in the unknown, in the uncharted territory where real growth happens. You're never going to step into your purpose if you allow fear to rule your decisions. It's time to stop listening to the lies and start taking steps forward with courage. You don't have to have all the answers right now. You just need to take that next step and trust that God is going to guide you. Finally, quit living in the past. The past is full of lessons, yes, but it's also full of things that you can't change. You can't keep carrying the weight of old mistakes, old wounds, and old regrets. Your past does not define you. What defines you is who you are right now. And where you're going, you've got to release the chains that are keeping you anchored to a time that's already gone. Every day is a fresh start, new opportunity to write a different story. Don't let the ghost of yesterday rob you of the joy of today. It's time to let go of the hurt, the guilt, and the shame. You've got a future ahead of you that's brighter than you can imagine. These 6 habits, comparison, complaining, procrastination, people-pleasing, fear, and living in the past are habits that have been holding you back, but they don't have to control your life anymore. You have the power to choose differently, to break free from these patterns, many of which we don't even know what's causing them in the first place. We all live with pastures. Everybody builds them up into these beautiful. It's not going to happen overnight, but with every small change, with every step you take towards the person you were created to be, you're moving closer to the life You've always dreamed of you've got greatness on the inside of you, but it's going to take your willingness to let go of the things that are keeping you stuck. You've got everything you need to move forward. So don't wait any longer. Quit these habits today and watch how your life starts to transform. When you wake up in the morning, what's the first thing that crosses your mind? Maybe it's the task. List for the day the people you need to connect with or the goals you've set. But if we're being honest, for many of us, the first thing we think about is where we stand compared to those around us. We look at others and ask ourselves, am I doing enough? Am I where I'm supposed to be? Why don't I have what they have? This is the power of comparison. And let me tell you, it's one of the most dangerous things you can engage in on your journey to success when we constantly compare ourselves to others. We begin to question our own worth, our value, and our purpose. We see the highlights of someone else's life, their success, their relationships, their achievements, and we begin to believe that somehow we're falling short. What we often forget, however, is that social media and external appearances rarely show the full picture. What we see is only the curated version of someone's life. We don't see their struggles, their challenges, the nights when they feel just as uncertain or insecure as we do. The reality is that everyone is on a unique journey with different circumstances, different timelines, and different dreams. Let's think about it for a moment. If you're constantly measuring your progress by the standards of someone else's, you're setting yourself up for a perpetual cycle of disappointment. The more you compare, the more you're convinced that you're not good enough, or that you're somehow behind. This mindset steals your peace. It creates a space where self-doubt thrives, where you question your value and wonder if you'll ever measure up. It can cause you to undervalue your unique gifts and strengths. You begin to look at someone else's accomplishments and tell yourself, I'll never get there. But that's the lie compared Harrison tells. Here's what's true. You are enough exactly where you are. Your journey is yours to define, and no one else's success should determine your worth. God didn't make you to be someone else. He created you with a purpose, with talents, with a future that's entirely distinct from anyone else's. Your life story is unique, and while others may inspire you, their story should never be the measure by which you judge your own. We live in a world where everything is measured and compared. Instagram followers, LinkedIn connections, career achievements, material success, and it can feel overwhelming to measure up. But here's what we often forget. Success is not a one-size-fits-all concept. Just because someone else is achieving certain things doesn't mean you should be at the same place at the same time. Everyone moves at a different pace, and comparison doesn't factor in the struggles and sacrifices others may be facing behind the scenes. Think about the process of planting a seed. You don't expect a tree to sprout overnight. Do you know that growth takes time? It takes nourishment, patience, and the right conditions. You understand that the process, no matter how long it may take, is valuable. Your journey is no different. You may not see the results right away, but that doesn't mean that the growth isn't happening. When you compare yourself to others, you fail to acknowledge that the time and effort someone else has put into their own growth is not the same as you have your own set of experiences, challenges, and skills that will contribute to your success. And the timeline for that success is yours alone to control. Instead of looking at where someone else is, focus on where you are today. What have you learned? How far have you come? What steps can you take today to continue progressing? When you stop comparing and start appreciating your own growth, you'll be able to celebrate the small victories and stay motivated for the bigger ones to come. We need to stop using other people's accomplishments as a yardstick for our own worth. You can't measure your value by someone else's success. You're not defined by how much money you make, the title you hold, or how many likes your photos get. Your value is intrinsic. It's not dependent on external markers of success. It's rooted in who you are, in your character, your heart, and the potential you have within. Once you grasp that, you begin to realize that your journey is your own, and your story is unfolding in exactly the way it's supposed to. And let's talk about progress for a minute. Everyone's progress looks different. For some, progress means climbing the corporate ladder, while for others, it's pursuing new and creative passions, building a family, or making a difference in their community. Success doesn't always look the same for everyone, and that's what makes it so beautiful. It's not about the destination. It's about how you're growing, evolving, and finding fulfillment. Along the way, you may not be at the same place someone else is, but that doesn't mean you're any less successful. It just means that your path is different, and that's okay. The comparison trap causes frustration when we forget that our journey is uniquely ours, shaped by our experiences and our choices. Another thing to consider is how comparison can take away your joy. Have you ever noticed that when you focus on what someone else has, you begin to feel discontent with what you have? You start thinking, I want that too, or why don't I have that yet? But the truth is focusing on what others have will never make you appreciate what you already have. It's easy to get caught up in the narrative that more is better, more money, more success, more followers. But at what cost when you're constantly comparing, you miss the blessings in your own life? There's beauty in your own journey, in the moments of growth and small wins that are uniquely yours, the secret to lasting happiness. And fulfillment is not in having what others have, but in being thankful for what you already have, no matter how big or small. So what can you do to break free from the comparison cycle? The first step is recognizing that you are enough exactly as you are. You don't need to be anyone else. You don't need to have the same things that someone else has to validate your worth. Embrace where you are and be proud of your progress. Focus on what you're learning, how you're growing, and how you're moving forward. When you shift your focus from others to yourself, you open the door to self-compassion, growth, and true contentment. Another important step is to unfollow negativity. If there are people or accounts that make you feel inadequate or trigger your tendency to compare, remove them from your feed. Protect your peace. Follow accounts that inspire you, that motivate you to be your best self, and that encourage your growth. Surround yourself with people who uplift you, who see the potential in you and celebrate it. You need to create an environment that supports your journey, not one that constantly pulls you into comparison. And finally, remind yourself that your worth isn't tied to what others are doing. Your value comes from within. It's about your heart, your purpose, your unique abilities. When you stop measuring your progress by someone else's yardstick, you free yourself to live authentic ally. You stop living in the shadow of someone else's success, and you start walking in the light of your own. You are not defined by what others are doing, how they're achieving, or how far they've gone. You are enough right where you are. Your journey is unfolding perfectly, just as it should. So today, choose to let go of comparison. Celebrate your growth. Focus on your progress. When you do this, you'll find the peace and satisfaction that can only come from knowing you're exactly where you need to be. Fear is a powerful force. It can grip you in ways that prevent you from moving forward, from stepping into the life you're meant to live. We've all been there, standing at the edge of something new, something exciting, something that could change our lives, and yet we hesitate. Why? Because fear tells us that we're not ready, that we're not enough, that we might fail. Fear convinces us that the risks outweigh the rewards, and in doing so it paralyzes us. But here's the truth: fear is not the problem. The problem is how we allow fear to control our decisions, to dictate our actions, to hold us back from the life we deserve. We have all heard the phrase fear of failure, but failure is not something to fear. Failure is a lesson, a stepping stone. The reality is that we're never going to grow if we don't step out of our comfort zone. And that's exactly what fear does. It keeps us comfortable. It whispers to us that staying where we're staying and what we know is safer. But safety is an illusion. The real danger is staying stuck, staying in a place where we feel secure, but never move forward. Fear tricks us into thinking we're better off staying in the known, even if it's not the best place. For us, it feeds us the lie. Doing something new, something bold, something that challenges us is too risky. But the truth is, the greatest risk you can take is not taking any risks at all. You may think that the most successful people never experience fear, but that's not true. The difference is that they don't let fear stop them. They acknowledge it, but they don't let it control their actions. They understand that fear is a natural part of growth. It's a sign that they're on the verge of something important, something transformative. It's in the moments of fear that we find the greatest opportunities for growth. Think about the first time you did something big, something that pushed you beyond your comfort zone. Maybe it was starting a new job, giving a speech, or making a big decision. The fear was real, but the reward on the other side was worth it. Fear often makes us think about the worst case and scenario. We imagine what could go wrong, how we might fail, what others might think of us. But here's the thing: while we're so focused on the negative possibilities, we miss the positive ones. We don't see the potential for success, for new relationships, for breakthroughs. Fear magnifies the worst outcomes, but it often completely ignores the incredible things that could happen if we simply took that step forward. Every success story, every breakthrough moment, every great achievement started with someone overcoming their fear and moving forward despite the uncertainty. If you wait until fear is completely gone before you take action, you'll be waiting forever. The key is to move forward in spite of the fear, not because the fear disappears, but because the reward is greater than the risk. Think about the people who have shaped history, the ones who have achieved the seemingly impossible. Do you think they never felt fear? Do you think they never doubted themselves? Of course they did. But they didn't let fear stop them. They didn't let it paralyze them into inaction. Instead, they chose to move forward anyway. And that's the secret. It's not about eliminating fear. It's about recognizing it for what it is, just a feeling. It's a temporary emotion that can either control you or propel you forward the moment you understand that fear does not have to dictate your actions. You become unstoppable when you allow fear to control you. It starts to define you. It begins to dictate what you will and won't do, who you will and won't become. It creates a mindset of limitation fear. It says you can't do that, or you're not good enough, you'll never make it. It locks you into a box, keeping you from pursuing your dreams, from stepping into your potential. But when you take control of your fear, when you decide to act in spite of it, you break free from that box. You realize that your potential is not limited by your fear, but by your willingness to face ahead on one of the biggest lies fear tells us, is that we have to have everything figured out before we move forward. Fear loves to whisper that you need to know the entire plan, that you have to have every detail mapped out before you take the first step. But that's simply not. True life is full of uncertainty. And if you wait for everything to be perfect, you'll miss out on the opportunities that are waiting for you right now. Action doesn't require perfection. It requires courage. Courage is the ability to take the next step even when you don't have all the answers. You don't need to know exactly how everything will unfold. You don't need to have everything under control. What you need is the willingness to start and the faith that with each step you'll gain more clarity, more direction, and more strength. Another truth about fear is that it often comes from a place of past experiences. Maybe you've tried before and failed. Maybe you've been hurt or rejected in the past. And now that fear of experiencing the same thing again is holding you back. But you cannot let your past define your future. Just because something didn't work out before doesn't mean it won't work out now. Every experience, every setback, every failure is a lesson that makes you stronger, wiser, and more equipped for the future. If you let fear from the past hold you back, you're allowing your past to rob you of your future. The only way to truly move forward is to let go of the fear of what could happen and trust that no matter what, you can handle it. You have the strength, the resilience, and the ability to adapt. The P is just a lesson. It does not. It makes everything about me, my insecurities, my flaws, my potential for failure. But when you focus solely on yourself and your own fears, you miss the bigger picture. Life is not just about you and your failures. It's about the impact you can make, the people you can help, the ways you can grow, and the ways you can influence others. Fear keeps you inwardly focused. But when you look beyond yourself, you begin to realize that your actions, your courage, your willingness to move forward can have an incredible impact on the world around you. You can't let fear hold you back from the ways you're meant to show up in the world. There are people waiting for you to step into your purpose, waiting for you to show up in your full potential. The fear wants to keep you small and hidden, but when you choose courage, you step into your destiny. Overcoming fear doesn't happen overnight. It's a process, and it requires practice. The more you face your fears and act in spite of them, the less power fear will have over you. Each step you take, each moment you choose to move forward builds your confidence and then diminishes the power of fear. It's not about being fearless. It's about being willing to act in the face of fear. The more you do it, the easier it gets, and eventually you'll find that fear no longer controls your decisions, your actions, or your mindset. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't need to be fearless. You just need to take that first step, and then the next. And the next. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's the decision to move forward anyway. And when you do, you'll discover that the life you've always wanted, the success you've dreamed of, and the freedom you seek are all on the other side of fear. Fear doesn't define your future. You do so. Step into it. Step into the unknown. Step into your potential. Step into your greatness. The moment you stop allowing fear to control you is the moment you start living the life you are always meant to live. Letting go of the past is one of the most challenging yet liberating things you can do for your life. The past often holds us captive. It keeps us tethered to memories, to regrets, to experiences that have shaped who we are, but don't have to define who we can become. We all have a past. Some parts of it may be beautiful, while others may carry pain or disappointment. But no matter how heavy or light your past may be, the most important thing you can do is stop letting it control your future. We can't change the past, but we can choose how much power we give it in the present. There's a reason that looking forward is so important. It's because your future is ahead of you. Your purpose, your potential, your dreams, they're all waiting for you to step into them. But if you keep looking over your shoulder, you're missing the opportunities that lie ahead. The more we hold on to past hurts, mistakes, and missed opportunities, the more we weigh ourselves down. Holding on to the past is like carrying a heavy backpack filled with rocks. And while we may not realize it, it prevents us from running toward what's ahead. The weight of the past can make us feel like we're stuck in place, unable to move forward, unable to achieve what we want. One of the most important steps to releasing the past is forgiving yourself. We all have things we wish we had done differently, decisions we regret, or things we feel we should have said or done, it's easy to fall into the trap of self, blame, and guilt, thinking that we are somehow defined by our past mistakes. But here's the truth: you are not your mistakes. You are not defined by what you did or didn't do in the past. You are not defined by your FA failures or your shortcomings. You are constantly evolving, constantly growing, and constantly becoming more of who you are meant to be. Your past may have shaped you, but it does not have to limit you. If you're still holding on to guilt from your past, it's time to let it go. When you forgive yourself, you release the power that those past actions, those past choices hold over you. It's also important to forgive others. Sometimes the weight of the past is not just our own mistakes, but the hurt others have caused us, whether it's betrayal, rejection, or simply not being understood. The pain that comes from others can feel incredibly heavy. But holding on to that pain, holding on to unforgiveness doesn't change anything. It doesn't change the person who hurt you, and it certainly doesn't bring you peace. Forgiveness is not about excusing the behavior or forgetting what happened. Forgiveness is about setting yourself free. It's about releasing the anger, resentment, and bitterness that have taken root in your heart. When you forgive, you break the chains that bind you to the past. You free yourself to move forward and to heal. Letting go of the past also means releasing old identities. Many of us carry around labels from the past lives that we have internalized and made a part of who we are. It could be something like, I'm a failure, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, or I'll never make it. These labels were likely formed from past experiences, but they are not the truth of who you are. The truth is that you are always growing, evolving, and learning. Just because you face challenges in the past doesn't mean you're defined by them. The experiences you've had, good or bad, are simply chapters in your story, not the entire book. If you continue to carry the weight of those old identities, you'll keep yourself stuck in a narrative that isn't meant to be yours. The person you are is not the person you have to remain. The power to redefine yourself is in your hands, and it starts with letting go of the old labels you've been holding on to. One of the most damaging things we do is living in a state of regret. Regret is a thief. It steals your joy, it robs you of your peace, and it paralyzes you from moving forward. If you're constantly thinking, what if I had done things differently, or if only I had taken that chance, you're missing the beauty of today. Yes, the past may have had its share of mistakes, but you're still here, you're still alive, still breathing, and still capable of making a difference. You can't change what happened, but you can change what happens next. Living in regret keeps you locked in a place where you're unable to see the possibilities that are in front of you. Instead of focusing on what you didn't do, start focusing on what you can do right now to create a better future. The power is in your hands, and the moment you stop looking back with regret, you begin to open up to new opportunities. Moving forward also means embracing the unknown. When we hold on to the past, we are clinging to what's familiar. Even if the past is painful or unfulfilling, there's a sense of comfort in familiarity. The fear of the unknown often holds us back from stepping into something new. But the truth is that you can't fully embrace your future if you're still tied to your past. Embracing the unknown means trusting that something better is ahead, even if you can't see it yet. It means stepping out in faith, knowing that your next chapter has the potential to be greater than the last one. Trust that the future is full of possibilities, and that by letting go of the past, you're making room for all the blessings that are waiting for you. It's also important to stop living for closure. We often think that we need closure to move on, but in reality, closure doesn't always come in the way we expect it. Sometimes we want an apology, an explanation, or an understanding of why things happened the way they did. But the truth is, closure isn't something someone else can give you. It's something you give yourself. Closure comes when you make the decision to let go of the need for answers and to move forward with peace in your heart. You may never understand why certain things happened, but you can choose to let go of the need for it and choose to heal. Closure isn't about a past. It's about your ability to find peace in the present and trust that your future is not defined by what you've left behind. Another key aspect of letting go of the past is learning to live in the present moment. So often we allow our minds to wander to what was or what could have been, but the reality is that we only have the present. The past is gone, and the future is not yet here. The more you can focus on the here and now, the more you'll find that the past loses its grip on you. It's in the present moment that you can experience true peace, joy, and fulfillment. When you let go of the past, you open yourself up to fully embracing the beauty of now, the beauty of the life that is unfolding before you, one step at a time. Letting go of the past doesn't mean forgetting it or pretending it didn't happen. It means choosing to release its power over you. It means understanding that while the past has shaped you, it does not control you. Your future is not determined by the mistakes you've made or the hurts you've endured. Your future is determined by the choices you make today, the choice to forgive, the choice to move forward, the choice to embrace the new opportunities that are ahead of you. You have the power to let go of the past, to heal, to grow, and to step into the future that is waiting for you. Every day is a new beginning, a chance to redefine who you are and what you want from life. The past may have shaped you, but it does not have to define you. Your future is in your hands, and it starts with the decision to let go. As we wrap this up, it's clear that the journey of life is not about being perfect or having everything figured out from the start, and it's about the decisions we make each day to overcome the barriers that hold us back. Whether it's the weight of comparison, the grip of fear, or the burden of past mistakes, these are obstacles that we have the power to move beyond. The path forward isn't about eliminating these challenges, but learning to face them with courage, letting go of what no longer serves us, and choosing to step into a life of purpose, growth, and fulfillment. When we stop comparing ourselves to others, we free ourselves to run our own race at our own pace, embracing our own story and celebrating the unique journey that's unfolding for us. Fear will always try to hold us back, but it's in the moments we face it and move forward anyway that we discover our true strength. And as we release the past, its failures, regrets, and hurt, we open ourselves up to the beautiful possibilities that lie ahead. The future is yours to shape. You are not defined by what you've been through or where you've been. You are defined by the choices you make today and the person you are becoming. When you let go of what's holding you back, you make room for the greatness that's ahead of you. It's time to let go of the things that keep you stuck and step into the life you were meant to live. Remember, the best is yet to come. Now go forward and claim your future with confidence and courage, because you have everything you need to succeed.